Humanity holds mysteries that defy understanding, souls whose existence seems drawn from a dream. Dive into this emotional journey to meet 10 extraordinary men who, through their resilience, redefine the boundaries of human possibility every day, forever. Number 10. Luis Padrón. The Quest for a Fantastic Identity. Luis Padrón is not simply an ordinary man. He defines himself as the meticulous sculptor of his own physical and spiritual existence. Originally from Argentina, he embodies an extreme form of self-expression, having invested a considerable fortune, exceeding $85,000, to align his corporeal reality with his deepest inner imagination. His transformation into a real-life elf is not the result of a superficial fantasy or a passing aesthetic whim. It is a visceral response to the social trials and bullying he endured during his difficult childhood. For Luis, the fantasy world has always been a saving refuge, a place where difference becomes a strength rather than a target. Through 30 complex surgical interventions, he has pushed the limits of modern aesthetic medicine. He has undergone facial remodeling to refine his jaw, hair transplants, and risky procedures to change the color of his irises. Beyond the visual aspect that often sparks amazement on social media, his journey illustrates a search for inner peace. For Luis, body modification is not an escape from reality, but the culmination of a quest for identity, where the reflection in the mirror finally accords with the truth of his spirit. He proves that human will, combined with technology, can remodel nature itself to reflect a soul that does not recognize itself in classic human standards. Number 9. Manuel Uribe. A monumental struggle for life. The story of Manuel Uribe is one of the most heartbreaking chronicles of the human condition in the face of extreme biological adversity. Recognized by Guinness World Records as the heaviest man ever recorded, this Mexican reached the colossal weight of 600 kilograms, approximately 1,322 pounds. This situation was not the simple result of overconsumption, but a tragic combination of rare genetic factors and a failing metabolism that left him confined to a reinforced bed for more than a decade. His life had become a true prison of flesh, depending entirely on his family for the most elementary needs. However, Manuel's story is not one of defeat, but of indomitable hope. Far from sinking into anonymity or despair, he used his notoriety to call for help and sensitize the world to the dangers of extreme obesity. Thanks to exemplary nutritional discipline and the support of an international medical team, he achieved the impossible, losing more than 360 kilograms without bariatric surgery. Every kilogram lost was a victory over death. His wedding, celebrated while he was carried by immense joy, was broadcast worldwide, proving that love knows no physical barriers. Although Manuel passed away in 2014, his legacy remains. He stands as the symbol of a man who, despite a body that chained him to the ground, possessed a spirit capable of moving mountains. His life teaches us that human dignity is not measured in kilograms, but in courage. Number 8. Ensan Limana. Dignity in the face of cruelty. Ensan Limana, whose story moved millions of internet users, is a living lesson in resilience and pure kindness. Born in Rwanda with a rare condition called microcephaly, he presents a face with distinctive features and an absence of articulate language. For years, he was the target of unimaginable cruelty from certain members of his community who, out of ignorance, unfairly compared him to an animal. These incessant mockeries pushed him to flee the company of men to take refuge in the thick forest, where he spent his days running, with his mother often having to chase him for miles to bring him back. The transformation of his life is a modern miracle made possible by the power of social media and global empathy. A documentary revealed his precarious situation, triggering an unprecedented wave of donations. Thanks to this surge of solidarity, Ensan Limana was able to leave the isolation of the forest to join a specialized school. Today, the one who was once insulted wears elegant suits, is learning to interact with his peers, and radiates happiness. His trajectory is that of a symbolic metamorphosis. The victim of ancestral prejudices has become a global icon of inclusion. By refusing to be defined by the cruel gaze of others, Ensan Limana reminds our modern society that true intelligence resides not in words, but in the capacity to give and receive love. His life proves that difference, when welcomed with kindness, becomes a source of inspiration for all of humanity. Number 7. Nathan Kajina, the miracle of reconstruction. The life of Nathan Kajina is a medical epic that redefines the boundaries of reconstructive surgery and mental strength. Born with a facial malformation of extreme rarity, so rare that it is not classified in standard medical manuals, Nathan came into the world without a nose, without cheekbones, and with undeveloped eye sockets. From his first hours, doctors doubted his survival. Yet Nathan not only survived, but grew up with a thirst for life that defied all pessimistic forecasts. Over the course of his life, he has undergone more than 37 major surgical procedures. These operations aimed not only to improve his appearance, but to allow him to breathe, eat, and see autonomously. Each trip to the operating room, often funded by foundations and a surge of generosity, was a battle against pain. Nathan never let these trials break his morale. On the contrary, he became a spokesperson for people living with facial differences, using his own face as a banner of courage. His resilience transforms every scar into a medal of honor. He embodies the idea that a man's identity is not limited to the features of his face, but to the depth of his gaze and the strength of his character. His journey is glowing proof that science, when driven by compassion, can perform miracles, but it is the human spirit that gives survival its full meaning. Number 6. Shi Liliang, Mastery of the Immaterial. Shaolin monk Shi Liliang seems straight out of a martial arts film, but his feats are very real and scientifically documented. This kung fu master has dedicated his life to mastering a legendary technique called Shuishang Piao, or running on water. To succeed in this feat, which consists of running on ultra-thin plywood boards floating on the surface of a reservoir, Shi Liliang must maintain a prodigious speed and a lightness of step that defies the laws of gravity. In 2015, he set a world record by covering 125 meters without sinking, a feat that requires absolute concentration. This gift is not the fruit of occult magic, but the result of decades of grueling training at the Shaolin Temple, including mastery of Qigong and iron physical and mental discipline. For Shi Liliang, this feat is a metaphor for life. One must move forward with determination and lightness to avoid being submerged by difficulties. Beyond the athletic spectacle, the monk uses his public demonstrations to raise funds for the education of poor children in his province. He thus proves that self-mastery is not an end in itself, but a tool in the service of the common good. His existence reminds us that the limits of the human body are often mental barriers that we impose on ourselves. By running on water, Shi Liliang invites us all to explore the latent potential that resides within us, waiting to be awakened by discipline and faith. Number 5. Buddy, Perseverance in Rarity. Buddy is a young man whose name has become synonymous with optimism in the face of the total genetic unknown. He lives with NMLFS syndrome, a condition so exceptional that fewer than 10 cases have been identified in the entire history of modern medicine. This pathology manifests as unique facial features, extremely thin and sensitive skin, and major structural challenges at the skeletal level. Living with such rarity means moving through a world without a precise medical map, where every symptom is an enigma. Yet, Buddy chose not to hide. On the contrary, he embraced his singularity with a joy for life that disarms even the most skeptical. On his social platforms, he shares his daily life with humor and a sincerity that breaks taboos about disability. He does not see himself as a victim of genetics, but as an ambassador of human diversity. His strength lies in his ability to transform the often misplaced curiosity of others into an educational opportunity. Buddy teaches us that true strength is found not in the robustness of muscles, but in the resilience of a smile that stubbornly refuses to fade. By his simple presence, he redefines the concept of beauty and normality, proving that every individual possesses a precious place in the mosaic of humanity. His story is a rallying cry for self-acceptance and the celebration of life in all its forms. Number 4. Esref Armagan, Vision Beyond Sight. Esref Armagan is a Turkish painter whose talent defies the scientific understanding of human perception. Blind from birth, he has never seen light, shadows, or the complexity of colors. Yet, Esref creates canvases of breathtaking architectural precision, using only his fingers to apply oil paint. He is capable of drawing perfect perspectives, such as a building seen from a specific angle or a landscape with a precise horizon line, concepts normally acquired through visual observation. His case has fascinated Harvard neuroscientists. MRI scans revealed that when Esref paints, his visual cortex activates intensely, even though he has never received an optical signal. His brain learned to see through delicate touch. Esref draws the world as he feels it, using his hands like scanners to understand shapes before projecting them onto the canvas. He even took on the challenge of drawing a Volvo car while respecting all three-dimensional proportions. His art is a bridge between the world of visual silence and the richness of colors. He proves to us that we do not see only with our eyes, but with our spirit. Esref is a monumental source of inspiration, showing that no sensory barrier can imprison a creative soul determined to express itself and share its unique vision of the world. Number 3. Olivier Rioux, a giant among men. Olivier Rioux is a young man who literally carries the weight of an exceptional stature. Officially recognized as the tallest teenager on the planet, this Canadian exceeded 2.30 meters, 7 feet 7 inches, when he was only 15 years old. His phenomenal growth is not the result of a disease, but of favored family genetics pushed to its peak. Living at such a height in a world designed for people of 1.75 meters, 5 feet 9 inches, is a permanent logistical challenge, from custom-made beds to door frames that are far too low. However, Olivier knew how to transform this physical characteristic into a lever for major success. He has become one of the most followed prospects in world basketball, using his wingspan to dominate the court. But beyond his sporting statistics, it is his maturity that impresses. Managing constant public attention requires considerable mental strength. Olivier approaches his difference with humility and exemplary discipline. He does not seek only to be the tallest, but to be the best in his discipline, proving that height is only an advantage if it is supported by hard work. His journey underlines the importance of embracing your natural characteristics to forge a unique destiny. He is the symbol of a youth that refuses to let itself be limited by traditional physical norms. Number 2. Derek Nance, a return to primitive instincts. Derek Nance is a man who made a radical decision to save his own life, a decision that places him on the fringes of modern society. Suffering from chronic digestive problems and persistent nausea that traditional medicine could not cure, he tested numerous diets before finding the one that restored his vitality: the exclusive consumption of raw meat. For more than 10 years, Derek has nourished himself this way, claiming to have regained energy and health he thought were lost forever. His lifestyle often sparks skepticism, but Derek assumes it with total transparency. He advocates for an ethical approach to his consumption, using the animal in its entirety, from bones to fat, to honor the life that nourishes him. For him, this return to the eating habits of our ancestors is not a provocation, but a personal biological necessity. He lives in harmony with his own needs, far from processed food industries. Although his diet is atypical, Derek's story illustrates the sometimes extreme quest of certain individuals for bodily autonomy. His testimony forces us to reflect on our relationship with nature, food, and the diversity of paths that humans can take to achieve a balance of health, even if those paths deviate radically from social consensus. Number 1. Stanley Thornton, the refuge of prolonged childhood. The story of Stanley Thornton is undoubtedly one of the most complex on a psychological level. Stanley lives part of his existence as an adult baby, wearing diapers, using a giant crib, and surrounding himself with childhood toys. While this practice might bring a smile or generate misunderstanding, it hides a much deeper reality. For Stanley, it is a survival mechanism. Having suffered severe trauma and abuse during his childhood, he found in this voluntary regression a space of emotional security he had never known during his early years. This lifestyle is a form of self-managed therapy that allows him to calm panic attacks and manage severe post-traumatic stress. By recreating the protected environment of an infant, Stanley offers himself the kindness and calm he lacked. His story was highlighted by documentaries, raising passionate debates about mental health and individual freedom. Far from cliches, Stanley is a man capable of functioning in society, but who needs this private sanctuary to maintain his psychic balance. He embodies the infinite complexity of the human spirit and the sometimes strange ways we invent to heal our invisible wounds. His journey calls us to more compassion and less judgment toward those who fight inner demons through atypical methods. Number 11. Moment of unexpected cases. The enigma of morphological singularities. The archives of modern anthropology contain cases of morphological singularity that defy the laws of conventional genetics. These individuals, embodying extreme biological divergence, have long been at the heart of intense scientific debates. One presented unprecedented nasal hypertrophy, while the other displayed a facial structure reminiscent of avian characteristics. Far from being mere curiosities, these men have become major subjects of study on the plasticity of the human species. Their existence forces us to redefine the boundaries of normality and bears witness to the absolute resilience of the human body in the face of the whims of evolution. A fascinating lesson in dignity beyond appearance. These stories remind us that human diversity is infinite and that every life carries a lesson. May this exploration of the frontiers of existence inspire you to embrace your own uniqueness with courage, for reality often exceeds human imagination.